breakfast up. It's first light. Sitting here wondering what the day will bring today. It's very dark still. Not a sound at all. There's not a bird, not a cricket. I'm pretty deaf though. Not a cricket that I can hear. There's no breeze. It's dead still. Watching the sun come up. That's what I love about this. On the track again. We've just left camp 6. We've plugged in camp 11. It's 85 kilometres to camp 11. We're heading directly east. So we are going dune to dune to dune to dune. So far the dunes have been pretty easy. Very steep on the eastern sides. It is the biggest we've had so far. The top third of the dunes are really cut up. There's so many shrubs and bushes around here. The dingoes, you could have 1,000 dingoes within 100 feet and you wouldn't know. Got up so close to the crest, but I was in high second and it just started to sink, so I stopped it straight away and reversed back a little bit, put it into low, gave it a bit more oomph in low with the diff lock on, and just managed to get up, which was a good thing. So that was the first one we've had to do twice. To be fair dinkum about it, I think that'll be the first of a few. Just approaching another dune. This is one of the taller ones for the day. I can't see the top of it, but based on the height and how cut it is down the bottom, I'm assuming the top's going to be very ordinary. We let our tyres down a little bit further. I'm running 15 now in the front and 24 in the back. Doing this one really as well. This is really cut up, this dune. You can see by how much we're rocking, and I'm only doing like 4 kilometres an hour. And this last third here, this little bit here is really steep, so I'm going to have to give it a little bit. There we go. We're over. A bit of work in that one. Lowering the tyre pressures definitely works. Just arrived at camp 9. Roaster's on. And it's smelling beautiful. Roast taties are already done and we've put them in the oven on a warm, so they can just sit there and wait for the roast now. And in about an hour's time, we'll be having roast with roast taties. Probably the hardest day we've had driving wise. Had to get the tyre pressures right. They finished at 20 at the back and 12 at the front. And then we're managing the dunes pretty well. So the plan tomorrow is change it up a little bit, leave really early when there's a lot of moisture still in the sand. The sand's at its hardest, and we're going to drive from about probably 7 o'clock in the morning through till about midday, 1 o'clock, and have the rest of the afternoon mulling about. It's early on a new day, and we're just putting the next 2 jerry cans in the fuel tank. It'll take 40 litres easy. I'm going to get rid of the jerrys off the top, both of them, and I'll probably get rid of the match tracks off the top. That lightens it up by about probably 55 kilos. These jerry cans aren't your standard jerry can. They're becoming more popular, so I haven't seen people with these, but the vast majority have the standard old jerry can, and these ones here are so much flatter. They're only 11 centimeters tall, so they store pretty much anywhere and they seal really well. Nice and easy. Undo the breather, and she water rocks it in. The 30 litre I got, I wouldn't get another one of them. 20 litre ones, awesome. We just drove past camp 10 and looking for camp 11, which is, they're right next to each other on the Madigan, and we saw heaps of camel print, and I said to Annette, you know, so many camel here, keep an eye out. And we went over the crest of the hill just to the eastern side of camp 10, And there they were. I counted them, there were 17.
That was very exciting. We just saw a mob of about 15 at least camels just straight over the hill, and then they just slowly walked off in the distance. Very beautiful.
We've just stopped at Camp 13 for lunch. It's having a bit of a lie down. In about an hour's time we'll head off again. We were going to stop here, but it's very early. Once we got past 12, it changed, and the dunes much less intrusive, much lower. The track was much harder, just rough. Still can't average more than probably 18, 20 kilometres an hour because it's just too many undulations. Well, we're almost at Camp 14. We're reaching the tops of these just tiny little dunes. They're only a few metres high. A really hard track to get there, but when you get to the top of these little dunes, you look out as it just looks dead flat. Such a contrast to this morning when we started. You get to the top of one of the big sand dunes and look out, and all you can see is these rolling, thunderous, huge sand dunes. Now we just got to Camp 14 and it's tiny. What we're going to do is move on 3.3 kilometres and stop at 15 rather than 14. Camp 15, beautiful campsite. So campsites to remember so far, Campsite 12 and Campsite 15, absolutely gorgeous. Got my trusty fly swat out, they're everywhere still. The flies are thick and furious. Few issues with the sand flag. This little piece here goes on the base. It screws into a clip, and this bit here attaches to the pole. See how long it is? Not very long, probably only got about 5 threads. Well, that's all that holds this whole flag onto the clip. So after many hundreds of kilometres of undulations, this finally gave in. The sand flag has fared pretty well apart from this. What I did to solve it, because it won't go back into the clip, into the base that it originally came on, put it on my bull bar. I zip tied it from top to bottom, so about 6 or 7 zip ties, and then 1,000 mile an hour tape, duct tape, wrap that, and it's more solid than it's ever been. Oh, nothing better than a good brew first thing in the morning. Quite nippy today. I was going to run around and get my jumper, but it's not as cold as it's been. It's bearable. It's cool. Brew is done. Spilling it everywhere. Nice easy way to do the dishes. A little bit of dishwashing liquid in there, bit of water, throw that on your plates, and give it a scrub, give it a wipe, you're good to go. Shake the van, wake the missus up. Come on, get out of bed. Oh, that worked. Did you see the van move? She's up, she's cranky. I don't know about your missus, but my missus, you don't talk to her for the first 2 hours in the morning, you just feed her coffee. Want to see the sunrise? Tell you, the feeling of isolation is phenomenal. It really is. Like, doing the desert on our own has been a truly amazing experience. It really has. Anyway, enough of the jibber jabber. Time to make coffee for the monster and pump the tyres up. We've just finished at Camp 16 on a track down to either 18 or 19. I guess it'll be somewhere between 65 and 80k we travel today. We'll stop at 18 and 19. This is Hay River track. Madigan stops at Camp 16, turns into Hay River. You travel on Hay River for a short period of time. It's not very far. And then you turn left back on the Madigan again. It continues. Hay River track goes all the way from the South Australian end, all the way north to the Plenty, or very close to it. Because I knew we were traveling Hay River track between Camp 16 and I think 17 or 18 or whatever it is down there. I pumped the tyres up a bit further today, and I'm glad I did. This is a real river track, but it's very shaly and very rocky. Just passed through Camp 17, beautiful campsite. Camp 17 is right on the border of where the Simpson Desert meets the Mungathiri National Park. It's where the direction changes a little bit. right across from Hay River to Mungathiri, you're pretty much travelling directly east. So you're going sand dune up to sand dune, even though they're fairly easy sand dunes. Once we get to 18 and have lunch, we'll work out whether or not we feel like moving to Camp 19 before the end of the day. The snakes in the desert are some of the most dangerous snakes you'll find probably anywhere in the world, and none more so than the taipan. I'm pretty sure the one we saw a few days ago was just that. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly sure that it was a taipan. Certainly wasn't going to get close enough to find out for sure whether one way or the other whether it was deadly or not. We're at Camp 19 and the flies aren't too bad. They're annoying, but they're not as thick as they've been in some places. Behind us, massive big flats, and it was only a week ago this was very wet. The actual star picket for this Camp 19 is just over the rise on that side. It's a bit messy over there from the water, so we thought we'd camp here. We're about probably 50 metres away from the actual Camp 19. Tyres got pumped back up today, so I'm running 31 in the back and I think 18 or 19 in the front. Anyway, that brings us to the end of today. We're going to have dinner and enjoy the view.
Looking at where our camp is set up for the night, it could actually even be like next to a beach when you look at it, the way it's set with the tree and sand dunes.
This is one of the mud flats that we'll be crossing today. We're Camp 19, so we're about to head almost directly south to the QAA line. It's about 162 kilometres to Birdsville from here, and if it is a really easy drive today, we probably will make Birdsville. But if not, we'll camp and spend one more night out here in the desert. I'd go so far as to say one of the best trips you could possibly ever have in Australia. A double crossing in the Simpson desert. About to watch a beautiful sunrise. I don't know what it is about camping, but gee, I sleep so much better when I'm doing this than when I'm at home. Still a couple of stars out. I can hear birds in the background. The old D-Max and camper, a very, very comfy rig. Very comfy rig. Not very happy with the way it's gone. A couple of little issues that we've resolved. Menu for breakfast this morning. Probably a couple of bits of toast and a wee bit. Nice cup of coffee. And we'll head off. I think the dust has got into every hinge on every door of the car and the camper. Every time you open a door, you hear massive cleaning job when I get home, I'm guessing. Such a big bog hole, and yet there's a track going either way. I'm pretty sure you can go either way. We'll go this way, and if we can't get around this way, we'll do a U-ey and go back and try the other track. Certainly can't get through the middle. It is absolute quagmire in the middle. I'm hoping this will take us around to where the track exits. Oh, it's a very bumpy old track going around this clay pan. It's only a small clay pan, it's not huge, but it's very wet. This southern track all the way down to the QAA line, from a dune perspective, probably isn't as difficult as what we've had, but We will still encounter issues getting through the boggy old clay pans going south because of the recent rains.
You hold on to me like I'm already gone, and whisper your words like
Oh, that's the bull
secrets
camel.
written
It's saying bugger off.
on skin.
How big is he? He is massive.
Look up above,
Oh, look at the drool. He is angry.
it is gonna break.
Oh, and a group of camel down the track.
Ain't ready.
They're huge camel. Like there's two massive big bull camels.
You can smell them. Smell those camels.
It's quite a big group. They smell just like cattle, actually. One of the highlights of the trip, wasn't it? Following a group of 20 camels down the track. I can't believe how far they run. Like they were doing 20 kilometres an hour. That was a good 10-minute run, wasn't it? Did really well. They're over the dune now. They're gone. Oh well, that just made my day. The flats between the dunes in this part of the world are very, very wet. We're looking out over the flats now and they're glistening. The water is shimmering off the mud. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it's incredible to think you're in what's described as the driest place in Australia, and it's the Simpson Desert, and yet there's so much water about. This track here has been very, very boggy. It's all cut up, rough. It's quite firm at the moment. The last rain that we had here was when we started the trip about 2 weeks ago. It was raining in this part of the world, so it's had a couple of weeks to dry out. This is Camp 20. Seriously, some beautiful camps. This is a massive area. It's just acres and acres, and it really looks like grazing country. You know, there's no spinifex, no bushes, no flowers. It's just grass pods everywhere with, you know, the trees you can see in the background. It's just gorgeous. The flats between 19 and 20 are okay. They weren't too wet. A few mud puddles, but we've received word via sat phone. The flats between here and 21 could be a bit tricky. Where you see water, apparently, where to keep left.
Feel okay,
Don't sink down.
almost the same, but I know I'm not healed, and something ain't right. Something ain't right. Oh, something ain't right. Something ain't right. Oh, something ain't right. Something ain't right. Oh, something ain't right. Something ain't right.
Found a bit of an old farming piece of equipment, I guess. Pretty rusty. I think it's just been used as a fire pit. Just out there, Anadu waterhole. It's a beautiful little spot we stopped at. We could stay here for a few days. Easily.
It truly is amazing. In the Australian desert, we've got a massive waterhole, life everywhere. Time for a cup of tea. I don't expect the track will be too bad from here on in. We may even make Birdsville today. Not that it matters if we don't, but we'll keep going, see how the day pans out. We haven't reached Camp 21 yet. It's not far away. There's two tracks. There's one about probably 50 metres to my left that runs down the fence line of the property, and then there's the one that runs down right beside the waterhole, and they both meet at the same spot. So after our cup of tea, we're just driving along the waterhole. we shall aim for Birdsville. It's only 20 past 12. I expect to get there well before dark. We'll stay at Birdsville a day and clean up, check the car out, make sure it's okay to drive home. We're a couple hundred metres short of the QAA line, and we've just slowed down to smell the roses, so to speak. It looks dead, but it's not. There's just so many different colours, but they're all at ground level here. Last 200 metres of the Madigan line, how good's that? We've been 13 and a half days in the desert, and we've done a complete loop, a double crossing. We're about to finish the Madigan line. It's almost sad. It really is. This has been absolutely fantastic trip. We haven't done anything like this one before, so no, I've had an excellent time.
Won't you save me? I am out here alone, 'cause there's nobody left. I need someone to talk to, get this pain on my chest. All the bad things I've done, and the people I've hurt. Wanna take that part of me and leave it in the dirt. Won't you save me? Won't you save me? Won't you save me? Oh, save me, save me. Oh, I've been trapped in this darkness for far too long now. Wanna tear down the curtain.
I'm so glad that you guys have watched the series. I really do appreciate it. And make sure you support the channel with your subscription. Hit that like button for us. If you want to shout me a beer or a coffee, Patreon link below. Just click that, follow the bouncing ball. Thanks again and take care. You showing them your boobs.
Birdsville.
Oh, right.